Hi, this is Sally Morgan, craniosacral therapist, physical therapist, and Tellington TTouch practitioner for animals and people. This is Tristan. He's a Corgi, and this is an episode of Conversations with a Corgi. And when I was at the Pet Expo in Maryland a couple of weeks ago, people had a lot of questions about the TTouch harnesses and why they're great. And they wanted some kind of a handout, which I don't have, maybe I should make one, that tells them things about the harness. And it's not any harder to put on than any other harness. So how to put it on would not be something to put into that brochure. But the things that make it such a great harness are really important and are worth writing down and remembering, which is why I decided to do a follow-up episode. I did another one, maybe episode 60, 75 about the TTouch harness, probably 2 or 3 about it at that point. So if you're really interested, you can go back on YouTube under Conversations with a Corgi and look up TTouch harness. So let's just take a look at the harness here. Tristan's wearing one, but so is the stuffed dog Jack, because you can get a better view of him. So he has the harness on as well as our leash. So you can see some of the good things about the harness here. Notice how his shoulder is completely free. He can move that arm as much as he wants, which being stuffed isn't very much. But if he wanted to move his arm, he has full range of motion in his arm. And if the harness is fitting properly, it doesn't come up close under the armpit. So, because a lot of harnesses now are rubbing dogs here and causing them to walk pigeon-toed, which creates gait problems, back problems, but problems back here in the stifle later on. So a lot of people don't even know that their harnesses are doing that, and then they discover that their dog has some of these problems, and they're like, how did that happen? But I can see it starting with the harnesses. So that's one of the great things about this harness. You can look at the live dog here, see how he has plenty of room here behind his elbow. It's a good couple inches. He can move his little arm anywhere he wants to lick his mummy. So that's the first good thing about this harness. Next good thing is, look how it fits on the chest of the dog. It comes down low so that it's not interfering with the windpipe or the esophagus. The dog has plenty of room on his chest, and in an ideal fit, it will come right on the bone here, so that if he does pull, he's not strangling himself. And that is another problem with a lot of other harnesses. Even though your dog is in a harness, a lot of those mesh ones, again, many episodes of Conversations with a Corgi about harnesses, but many of the mesh ones that people now love and think every small dog needs, that tape on the edge of that mesh is like a knife going through your dog's neck. So I love this because it fits well. Carol says, I use a harness on my Yorkies. Good, Carol. I hope it's not one of the mesh ones, and I hope they don't pull. If your dog doesn't pull, you can really walk them in anything. But if they pull or suddenly bolt and chase a squirrel, you've got a big problem if you don't have a good harness. So this harness comes low enough on the chest that it's not strangling the dog. Another important thing about this harness is it's the best one I've seen to prevent back and neck and hip and stifle back here. Dog's knee is back here. Injuries in a dog. Remember, if they stood up like a human, here's where the knee is. So why is that this is the best one to prevent injury? It's because it keeps your dog in physical balance. A lot of people love those front attachments. Those take your dog out of balance. That's why you can, quote, control him, because he's no longer in balance. And a dog that's off balance is, at loose ends. He can't think. He's going to be more reactive. When your dog is in physical balance in this harness, he is also in emotional balance. Physical balance equals emotional balance. So if you have a dog that has a lot of emotional and behavioral issues going on, like mine, with other dogs, if I keep him in physical balance, I can walk inches from another dog and my dog will not react. But if I am spaced out, not thinking, carrying stuff, dropping him and ignoring him, he will lunge at the end of his leash at other dogs. But physical balance and my emotional balance keeps this little Corgi in balance, and he is fine. And people don't know that he has a problem because his harness keeps him in balance, and so he does not react. The same for any other dog wearing this harness. It's really their first step in helping a reactive dog become a non-reactive dog. besides putting a wrap on them. But you need to have them in physical balance, and that's another reason why this harness is so great. This harness, no matter where you attach the leash, distributes the pressure around the whole harness. So you can attach it, you'll notice the top of it here, flip Jack over. See, it has 2 hooks here, 1 hook here, 1 hook here, and another hook in the front. So no matter where you hook the harness, it's keeping it so that it's dispersing the pressure all throughout the whole dog. So you are never yanking on just one body part. When I walk the dog with the leash attached in only one place, I usually put it on the 2 snaps on the top together. A lot of people just use this one when they're walking the dog on a leash without the front attachment. So what's the deal with the front attachment, and why do we have so many places to put the leash on a TTouch harness? Well, where do you need a leash today is why we have so many attachments. There are many options here. You can attach it on only one side if you're staying on only one side of the dog and you have the leash on 2 places and you're just going to keep him on this side. You can attach it in the middle, like I said, if you're just walking him with the leash in only one place. You can also attach it in the middle if you're walking with the leash in 2 places. The front attachment is not so you can make this leash like those other kind that just have the front attachment and pull your dog off balance, which frankly, even in this harness, pulling on the front doesn't make your dog as unbalanced as it does in a lot of those other harnesses, because some of them attach really low and they literally pull your dog over. What dog would not be in a panic losing his balance? Now, this is a bigger problem in horses, whose one of their greatest fears, being a prey animal, is fear of falling, being trampled, and then being eaten. With a dog, they tend to roll and get up. Can I have the name of the company where this harness comes from? Me, Carol. You can get them from me. It's a Tellington TTouch harness, and I sell them. And they come in lovely colors: purple, blue, pink, red, black, green. Not a trillion colors like the Freedom harness, but lots of colors. So anyway, when you have it just attached on the front, which we never recommend, ever, 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 ever. But if you're a person who wants to do that, it's still better for your dog than those other kind of harnesses. And it even has another place where you could attach even lower here. I would never use it that way though, because it's so unfair to the dog to put him out of balance. So if we have it attached in 2 places, get on there you, and we're walking our dog, and I need him to stop, I can give him a little signal on the back, like we're getting ready to stop, and then another signal on the front saying, come into balance. And see, even on this stuffed dog, it's like, hey, you, stop. And see how he rocks back on his back feet? He's stopping. He's not falling forward. He's not pulling forward. A lot of people, when they try to stop their dog, they get in a tug of war. He pulls harder, you pull harder, and then you end up, going down the street like you're out on water skis. So again, you just give them a little signal here and balance them, and they pull back on the front a little bit with the harness, and your dog stops. That's one of the reasons why we have the 2 harnesses, the 2 snaps for the harness. Like I said, it really helps your dog stay in emotional balance, and it can make lasting changes with a pulling dog in one session of 10 minutes, and I'll tell you about that. Actually, I guess I'll tell you right now. There was a dog that I knew, a lady who had a dog who was a young golden retriever, and she had trouble taking him for walks, her actually, and it got to the point where the dog would grow into her crate with her butt facing out and not come near the person when she wanted to take her for walks. Why was that? Some friend of a friend who had a trainer tell her got the dog the attachment in the front walking harness. Well, it was digging into her elbows, it was pulling her off balance, and it was terrifying the dog. It was actually fitting her so incorrectly that it was simultaneously strangling her windpipe and her esophagus when the person pulled on it. And being a 8-month-old golden retriever, there was a lot of pulling. She's like, oh, squirrel, oh, other dog, oh, where's the car? Oh, I smell that. So you really need that kind of dog to be in balance. And she said, can you help me? And I said, sure. So I hooked her up with a harness. We had to order it special. She really wanted a red one, so we got this coppery red colored harness for her. And I worked with the dog in the parking lot at a skateboard place, because that was where we could meet between our 2 houses. So we didn't have a ton of space or room or a very quiet place. And first of all, she opened the back of the car, and there was the dog sitting there. And I just scooched over on the seat and put the harness on the dog. Now, one of the great things about the TTouch harness is that you can unhook it here for the neck and here for the back. So I unhooked it all over the place and just slid it around her back and snapped it up. And the woman, first of all, for that was flabbergasted, because she couldn't get the harness that she had on the dog, and the dog would hide and bite and cry. And she's sitting there while I'm putting this on her going, we're going walkies, and had no problem. So I got her out of the car. I held the leash in 2 hands. That's how you start with it. Once your dog gets really awesomely good at walking on it, you don't need to hold it in 2 hands. You can just carry the little handle here and your dog will walk fine. This long leash that comes with the harness is super adjustable. You can make it really long if you've got a little short Yorkie, and you can make it really short if you've got a big tall dog. So I worked with this dog in the parking lot, like literally 5 minutes, and showed the lady how to use the harness a little bit. You know, I'm a horse rider. I have no problem with 2 reins. It's been a lifelong thing that I can do that. This woman, not a horse rider, not much of a dog person, but a great business lady. In a few minutes, she was able to learn how to use the harness with 2 hands. And then I took the dog for a walk, just hanging onto the handle, just around the parking lot in 2 cars, and brought her back, gave her to the woman. The woman grabbed the handle. Dog has never pulled since then. 2 years later, this dog is an adult. She has never pulled. She sits by the door waiting for her walk. I mean, it's a miracle transformation in 1 5-minute session. And I didn't even charge her for the training part of the session. I just charged her for the harness. But that's the miracle of this harness. When your dog is in balance, he is much better able to listen to you and do what you want. Right, Tristan? And try to help you do what you want him to do. So that brings us to another important thing about this harness. Wow! Flying corgis! Mommy knocked him off her lap. He's very slidey on there. Get the corgi back. Oh, get this piggies up. One of the other great things about this harness is that, like I said, it undoes here. It undoes on the other side. And it undoes around the neck. And then I'll put it back together. And as long as you keep in your mind that these 2 snappy attachments on the top, these 2 right here, Jack, fix that. There. As long as you know that these 2 attachments for the leash here go at the tail end on the back, you can figure out how to put it back on if you undo everything. So anyway, it's also multiple adjustable. Around the middle adjusts, around the neck adjusts, and an important place people don't even remember they adjust because hardly anybody's does, they adjust under here. So you can fit any size dog. You can get a little French bulldog with a huge chest, or a little teeny chihuahua with a skinny chest, or a papillon, and you can adjust it every which way. So those are the reasons, some of them, why I love this harness. And like I said, it comes with this leash. If your dog is like mine and he's pretty good at never pulling on the leash, I never even attach this here. You can swing it around with the handle here and make it so it just has a handle on the end. Hold on, Jack, don't fall again. So that it just has a handle on the end, and then you can just work with it like it's a regular old leash. We're losing our phone again. Go that way. Thanks, Jack. The Jack Russell's name is Jack. So then you can hold it just on this way, and then if you're out in the meadows and you're walking around, you don't want to let your dog loose, but you want to have fun, you can have this really long. But when I'm walking in New York City, first of all, I always have it attached in 2 places there because it's highly stressful, too much going on. I want to keep good track of my dog. But if I were walking in, you know, like a moderately busy area, I can make this a lot shorter and have my dog closer to me. So those are some of the reasons why I love the TTouch harness, which Tristan is wearing here. Show them the front entrance. He's like, I've been a flying corgi this morning. I don't know. See, it comes behind his armpits. Good boy. So if you have any more questions about this harness, or you want to get one, you can go to my website. I don't even know if we have pictures of them on the website, but either way, you can just email me, sallymorganpt sally@gmail.com or sally@sallymorganpt.com, and I can hook you up with a harness. Like a lot of things, the price of the harness depends on the size, but they are a little expensive because you are getting a leash with it. And you can get one, like Tristan wears a small. He's a 20-pound dog, and it's pretty much almost as big as it goes on him. He's gotten a little chubby in the middle this winter. But the medium size would also fit him, made as small as it goes. So there is some overlap if you guess the wrong size. The Golden Retriever was wearing a large. Yeah, she had a large, but it was all the way down because she was a slim little wiry girl. Your basic Labrador wears a large. I've sold a few extra larges to really big labs, really big Goldens. I have a Pyrenees client that uses the extra large. Pits generally are large. So depending on what size your dog is, I can hook you up with a harness. And they are really amazing. I just can't get over how much they help dogs not pull. And it's because they're in balance. And many problems people have with their horses are because the horse is out of balance. If we could make a harness like this for a horse to keep him in balance, that would be great. And we do. We use ropes and things around their necks and around their buns to try to balance them in TTouch. But, there is not a harness made for a horse yet that does the same thing this does. So remember, tension throughout the harness, lots of places to attach, keeps the dog in balance physically, therefore emotionally and behaviorally. Lots of freedom in the shoulders, prevents pain and injury in the neck and the back and the stifles. More importantly, can save you billions of dollars on vet bills for repair to any of those areas. Does stop pulling dogs sometimes almost instantly, like with that Golden Retriever. So check it out, Tellington TTouch Harness and Leash. Email me or write me here or Facebook Messenger me, and I can hook you up. What do you think, Tristan? He likes them so much. He has two. Jack's wearing his new aqua one. That's a harder color to get. We don't always have it. And his whole life, he's worn this blue one from when he was a little pupster, about 6 months old, till now. And it's adjusted and adjusted to fit him. And it will fit him forever, right, Tristan? And they do come with the leash and the handle. So thanks for joining us today. I hope you've learned something about harnesses. If you have interest in this area, like I said, go back on YouTube under Conversations with a Corgi Harness, and you will find, I don't know, I think I did 15 or more episodes on harnesses and what's wrong with them. And I actually went and bought a ton of harnesses just so I had something to compare. And as you all know, there are harnesses coming out every day. They're all over Facebook. But I would never put a dog I loved in a harness that wasn't this one unless there was a really good reason. Like I said, I have a Freedom harness, the old style, and they are useful for other things. But just because you have a mesh harness, don't think you're being nice to your dog, because a lot of those mesh harnesses are like a knife where they come around your dog's front. So thanks for joining us today. Everybody have a great day. It's going to be 30 and sunny here, frozen landscape, but we are still going to try to do walkies with our girlfriend Coco. And I have finally wrapped up my speech and PowerPoint for the conference next week. Hopefully everything will fit in the suitcase. That's the next hurdle. Thanks for joining us. We will see you back here tomorrow around 9:30. Everybody have a great day.